What's up, guys? It's me, Webheaded Artist, here with another video. Thank you for coming by and checking this out. A friend of mine is doing a Kickstarter to help restore the Mr. Monster. It's a Canadian comic book series, and I wanted to lend my own help by helping promote it by creating a piece. So this is what I was working on. Now, with my other videos you guys have seen, I've done typical things like unboxings or reviews of items I've purchased and things like that. But with this one, I wanted to show that I do draw and that artist isn't in the name for just hipster reasons. So if you want to check out some of my other artwork, you can go to Webheadedartist, and that's on Instagram, and you can check out some of my other work there. And I also have a Tumblr with some of my things. But anyway, back to the drawing. As you can see, I started off with a couple thumbnails here. Now, I previously drew these on regular paper, and after I drew a bunch of them, very loosely of course, much like what you're seeing here, I decided to recreate these two digitally because these are my favorite of the two ideas that I came up with. And then ultimately I decided to go with the one on the right. I think the main reason I went with this one is because I saw a piece that someone did before that included him in the mouth of a beast, and I thought it would be too similar. If not, they would look like they were taken at the same time picture wise. So I decided to do something a little bit different, a little bit more special. So that's why I went with the tentacled kraken beast. I was always a fan of the 2000 Leagues Under the Sea story, and I just think anything that comes from the ocean that's huge is just freaky because you don't know when you look at water what's underneath, especially when it's murky and dark. So that was the point of this piece. But again, I'm just trying to go in and just be loose and create. I'm sorry, guys. Right there, we had some technical difficulties. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm doing my best to try to figure out what it is. I got an editing guy, so he's gonna take a look at it for me and do some research and kind of delve into that situation. But anyway, back to the video. Now, as you can see, after I went in with the blue pencil, I just started refining the edges that I created with the red, and I just started to try to create something that's a little bit more, I guess, more fine, just finer lines, finer details. Just it's all about going in and chiseling in and creating the image that you want. You start off with this big piece of drawing clay, and then at the end you end up with a crudely drawn superhero character. I'm no Michelangelo by any means, but I'm just saying you just start off with one thing and you keep sketching and etching into the drawing until you get the shapes and the design that you want. It's all about manipulating different shapes and sculpting. So that's what I try to do here. You feel like you're sculpting more when you're on traditional medium, when you're just on paper, because you can feel your pencil just etching into the paper, and you see it happening. But with digital, it's a little bit more different. So you have to kind of keep drawing and keep adding on to what you've already created. And then again, the main thing is again to just stay loose and to enjoy it. If you're drawing and you're not staying loose, then you're not going to have a good time. Now my sketch here, as you can see, it's changed quite a bit from the initial 2D scribble chicken scratch I kind of did in the beginning. And that's part of the fun of doing a loose sketch. I like to transform the paper horizontally a couple times while drawing, just to make sure that the pose that I'm working on still looks good at another angle. It helps you to see if there's any mistakes or any problems there. Usually they'll pop up when you switch it around. It just gives you a new perspective, and when you get that new perspective, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Another thing that I like to do, especially to make sure that I'm doing my anatomy right or my perspectives right, is that I like to work on a drawing for quite a bit of time, then stop, go back the next day after a couple hours, or go back 2 days later after I've had some time to be away from the piece, and it gives you a chance to look at it again and then reassess everything, and you look over everything and you start to see any mistakes that maybe weren't there before. So you'll see there's a bunch of times where I was working on this piece and I noticed something different with the head of the character, or his eyes being too big, or the snake's head being too big. So I went back in and I changed the sizes and made everything work together a little bit more smoothly. Design-wise here, I also decided to make the tentacles of the octopus have the snake slash basilisk heads, because I thought it would be really cool to look at, and it would seem more dangerous for our hero to be in this situation rather than just these regular tentacles writhing around the water. And he's gonna have a huge alien octopus head that again, guys, I do apologize for these technical difficulties. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm still getting used to this editing software, and like I said before, the videos will get better over time. But for right now, pardon the dust. I'm still trying to learn how to control this new technology that makes my computer very, very slow. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So now you can see that I've gone in. I've added all the detail that I wanted, and I've etched out the character as far as I want him to go with pencil. I did the water in this greenish color, the character himself in blue, and then the kraken, basilisk, octopus in orange, or no, not orange, in a reddish color. So after I've gone and done that, and I've done enough refining and minimizing to get what I really want, that's when I start doing my inking. And don't be afraid to copy pieces that you've inked out, especially like I did here with the goggles. I didn't want to redraw that again perfectly, so I just copy it, paste over there, and that's a tool that you can use when you're working digitally. That it'd be a little bit more difficult when you're working traditionally. So of course, traditionally I would have found like some kind of quarter or maybe a dime, something I would have used to help me create the shapes I wanted to make. But if you've got the tools digitally, use them. I mean, that's what they're there for. So it's just a tool to help you create your art and to do better work. Now, as I start inking here, one main thing that I've started to focus more on is my line weight. Your line weight is very important, and it can help different parts of your drawing pop out rather than other pieces. So if you have a large figure in the front, you want to make sure he has a nice thick outline, as opposed to your characters who are in the background. Make sure that they have a thinner outline, and then you can even use it to show shadow. Like I have on the skull head here, you can see that in the eye, it's got a little bit of a darker line there, which makes it feel like it's got some kind of shadow and shape to it with some depth. So oh, geez, it keeps happening. I'm gonna get someone to work on it. The other videos I'm working on, they're coming down the pipeline, but don't worry. It just takes a lot of time, and sometimes my place and teams seems to meld into my work. So I'm not able to talk either for whatever reason. So that seems to be going on. Okay, so then I started going in and putting in some extra details on this basilisk snake thingy to give it a reptile-y, lizardy feel, even though it's a underwater beast. I wanted to give it something really menacing. So it's got your snake, it's got the feel of an alligator slash dinosaur at the same time, and it's just really fun. And here's the beginning. So I wanted to show the beginning, where I kind of started off, and just the process of just going in and refining from beginning to the end, from getting the initial concept idea done to doing the pencils to then adding in the the different details, and refining from there. So as you can see, it took quite a bit of time. Again, I thank you so much for coming by and spending 11 minutes with me, 10 minutes, or however long this video is. I really do appreciate it. Leave your comments, your likes at the bottom, and I can't wait to show my next video for you guys, and I will see you on the flippity flip. Oh yeah, and if you're very interested in that Mr. Monster comic book, be sure to go to Kickstarter and look up her project. I'll be putting the link to it in the bio. It's actually already reached its goal, so they have stretch goals coming now. But again, it's a really cool comic book with a bunch of different other artists that are contributing to it, and it should be fun. So check it out, and again, stay tuned here for some more videos.